I'm your host, Sean Bell, aka Chef Spoke, and this is PSA, People Say Anything, where we talk about and say anything. And because people say anything, we're going to treat these conversations like therapy sessions. So let's get to it. So today, I got a message from a friend of mine, and they, first of all, child care service is a big deal, and we entrust people with our kids to, make sure that they get home from school and that they're fed and they're properly supervised in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Some of these people become mentors in life. They become examples of people that, they might want to grow up to be. Child care providers shape our children the same way teachers shape our children. And it's important that you find a good child care provider if you use one, So I get this message from one of my friends. And she's telling me, like, the child care provider wanted the parents to come pick up their children early that day. So she's on time, right? So her whole thing was, how are you going to threaten to terminate my service because I have a problem, but you the reason I have a problem? Then say to me, oh, well. Now, when people tell you, oh, well, most of the time it's in a smart alecky way. So I understand why that was a big deal for her, because she said this bitch told her, oh, well. All right? After you just told me that you were late by an hour picking my children up from school, why didn't you call me? Like, really? You were an hour late picking the children up from school. Why didn't you call the parent to let the parent know, hey, something came up? Are you able to grab your children because I have an emergency? Now, let's add some pointers to this, because this particular child care service provider is short-staffed, and that affects a lot of things too. So if she had an emergency, somebody else should have been there to take care of the other business that she had going on, and they weren't. So therefore, it caused her to be an hour late picking up the children. And, okay, all right, like, first off, you should be apologetic because, bitch, you ain't right. Is you stupid? Because you were behaving like a fucktard who just lost their mind at a fucktard convention. Like, I don't understand people who own a business and don't have business ethics. It's really sad, because we patronize these businesses and then they turn around and take a shit while you're standing right there next to them. People like that are terrible business owners because they don't take accountability. And the fact that this is a child care, it is unacceptable. The fact that you had the audacity to have an attitude is behind my comprehension. Your child care provider, you were late picking children up, and you didn't call to warn the parent. And to top it off, you had an attitude about it and said, oh, well. So what was the reasoning? The reason was because her child was sick, which is completely understandable. Your child is sick, but my children are at the fucking school waiting for you. So why wouldn't you call me and give me a heads up to be like, hey, something came up? Are you able to have somebody pick, is it possible for you to have somebody pick the kids up? Which would have been no problem because it could have been done. The issue is you having an attitude and not being professional and apologetic and saying, oh, well, I had to get my kid was sick and I had to pick him up. With an attitude. And then wonder why the person that was with her wanted to put hands and feet on your ass. Because stop playing. Stop playing with my intelligence and my patience, because I'm about to be DMX and lose my motherfucking mind up in here. But maybe I'm tripping. Maybe you might have some insight. Help me. Am I bugging out? Because what the fuck? And I want to say to you, friend, no, you're not fucking tripping. You got every right to be DMX and lose your motherfucking mind. Because why the fuck you ain't called me? Why didn't you warn me to say, hey, there's a problem and I got a solution? Usually when you got a problem, you got a solution to go along with it. So therefore, why didn't you present the solution? I need you to pick your kids up from school because I got an emergency. So irresponsible, unprofessional, you get a fucking 1 star on a Google review because you're full of it, lady. You're understaffed and you're always late getting to the daycare to open up. You open at 6:30 and you're getting there at 6:45, 7 o'clock. Just late when you should be there early, already open when we get there. And then to threaten to terminate the services, which she did, by the way, which is no problem because I know she's glad to get away from that situation. So therefore, that's a big no-no. We entrust you with our children and you take a shit on us by not calling us and warning us of the situation that's going on at hand. And that's very unacceptable. So no, friend, you're not tripping. She was on some bullshit. And I hope she get her act together in the future because she might not have no future if she continues to conduct business the way that she's conducting business. It's sad. I love supporting Black businesses, but we as a people got to get our shit together. Some of you are not professional. You take things personal. You don't put your pride to the side, and you don't push accountability on your part. You're not being accountable. You didn't apologize. You didn't make a phone call to say, hey, this is going on. You just did what you wanted to do, and it was the wrong thing to do in that type of situation because it could have came out worse than what actually happened. Just saying. People want to be civilized, but some people, they kick your ass about the kids, especially over that type of shit. But like I said, this is PSA. People say anything, and we treat these conversations like therapy sessions. And I just wanted to say, hey, get y'all shit together. On other things, we really just need to do better. People just need to do better and recognize and take accountability. Analyze yourself in those type of situations. Put yourself in the other people's shoes. And how would you feel if you were in that situation? You probably feel the same way. So do unto others what you want done to you. And conduct good business at the end of the day. At the end of the day, I expect you to conduct good business. And that's all I could expect from a merchant or a child care service provider or any type of business, for you to conduct good business. And as long as you conduct good business, you always gonna have customers. You always gonna have people showing you love. You always gonna have money coming in because people know that you do good business, and good business gets rewarded flat out. Well, anyways, that's another episode of PSA. People Say Anything. I'm your host, Sean Bell, aka Chef Smoke. I see y'all next time. Peace.